guitar videos as, here, let's set this. You might recall, let's see, fat stomach sticking out while he plays horrendously. That was me. Fat stomach sticking out playing really bad. I was in that one. Guy sits on bed and plays bad bass guitar. I was in that one. It's a late evening, and I just got home from a place that I'm grateful exists. They help when people like myself need help, and I'm very, very grateful that they exist. And God bless. All you're hearing right now, it's nothing. It's not nothing. It's my Helix, Line 6 Helix. I'm plugged in. I say plugged in. It's just my ancient thing like that. My MIDI interface is just hanging there, dangling, as it were. It's just basic analog guitar plugged in with a regular guitar cord into Line 6 Helix, but the difference changes slightly from there. It's going from what's called it's a Line 6 link, which is just a digital connection between the Helix, Line 6 Helix digital floor unit, effects unit, so to speak. And it's just a microphone cord that runs, just one single cord, to the tube amps that Line 6 made. Now, I've got a pair of them because I've always liked to hear stereo, run stereo, enjoy that. And so I found a phenomenal deal 5 years ago. So I got a pair of Line 6 DT50s, half stacks, which is a tube amp. And it's an amazing tube amp in the fact that it's got tubes that change the way they operate based on the amp that's chosen in the Line 6 Helix main unit. If I choose an amp that's of one tube design, like say a Marshall, well, the Line 6 tube amplifier configures itself not digitally, but in the real world. It switches itself with relays, switches all the components to be that amplifier in the real world. And if I tell the Helix over here to be a Fender amp from the United States, say from the 60s, it sends this electrical signals to the amplifier to electrically change to the different components it needs to be to change that amplifier to be a Fender amp. It changes the resistors and the capacitors and the connections to the tubes, and it becomes, for all intents and purposes, realistically, this is the real deal. It becomes a Fender Bassman or Fender Twin. Fender Vibrolux. It's insane. If I say, oh, I've got a Vox AC30. Well, guess what? So does that. It changes the tubes to be, I mean, on all the components. It says, oh, we've got to switch all these now to be a Vox AC30 or a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier or a Mesa Boogie Mark IV or a Silvertone. And it does that for 70 different amplifiers. And it doesn't do it for just the one, but I have a pair. And it'll do it for each of those at the same time. So I can plug my guitar into the Helix and say, all right, I'm going to run my guitar in and run it through different effects for each of the amps first. You know, like I said, distortions or wahs or chorus pedals, or in this case particularly I stick to compressors, overdrives, and distortions, and then send it to each amp. And separately I can pick independently Big Muff and a Tube Screamer and a Proco Rat, and to each one, or I can go into all of those and then split it to each one so they both get my front chain of effects, which in this case, that's kind of what I've done. To a degree, I've got about 3 of the same different effects, and then I split it and they both go to each amp. In this case, I've got a couple different amps here. They're both a little different as far as tube situations are set up and gains. I've got the gain set up pretty low on these, but I've got some pretty heavy compressors set up on these, and some other effects in there that'll kind of not weird things out, but the effect in this case is this is more of the fusion tone that people are always, I've been asked for 25 years, how do you get that on my recordings? I'll say, how do you get that fusion tone? That Allen Holdsworth tone is what they're referring to, that. Very sustainy, very mid-rangey, and the notes just kind of instantly turn on. And they turn off as well. And that's a combination of several compressors. It's the gist of it is high gain amplifiers set with the gain low. So it would be kind of like having, well, in this case, I've got it, a Mesa Boogie Mark IV, which is a pretty high gain amp. I mean, it's... But the secret is manage the guitar's volume control and compression and gating, and so to speak. It keeps it under control. Essentially high compression with very low decay time, so your notes don't have much time to do what they're doing. They get in and get out. Right? When you want your note done, you want it done. Sorry about the sloppiness. Another part of it is you really need to be aware of what you're playing when you play it. A lot of people say, you're just flopping around. The thing is, I wouldn't be able to play that cleanly. That's not very clean, but for me, I mean, that's the norm. If I didn't know what I was playing when I played it, I know exactly what I'm playing. I know. What every note is, and that's just because, and that's not, I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound so cocky or anything, I apologize. That's just because I started learning that when I was 7. Realistic, from 8 till I was 18, that's all I did was just dee dee doo da 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 do do da 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 I know if I hear notes in my head, I just know where they are, you know, and where the options are. And you just, that's how you know how to play what you want to play. So I never let my learning of scales dictate